guys, and welcome to another episode of the SoFLo Sports Show. It's your host, 305 Sports Babe, and co-host Lou from Dade, who will be here in just a second. Big episode tonight. We are on the eve week of Super Bowl 60, where we have the Seattle Seahawks taking on the New England Patriots. Unfortunately, it is not a Dolphin Super Bowl, and gosh, I've never actually been able to say that, but it definitely isn't this year. And you guys know Dolphin Nation is not going for the Patriots, so go Seahawks. Before we get into anything, we have two amazing guests on tonight, talk about all things betting, angles of the big game. So stay tuned for that. I can't wait to hear what they have to say, and it'll be great. Before we get into anything, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to us. We cover everything South Florida sports and a whole bunch of travel stuff too. So if Disney and Dolphins is your thing, come on and follow us. Oh, hey, Lo.
Hey.
Welcome. Just introducing.
Yeah, we got our Super Bowl show, and it's a tradition now. We get a couple of guys on who pick all the angles, and they know exactly what you're talking about. So we're excited to bring them on here in a second. And, yeah, it's a big Super Bowl, obviously, a big rematch, and we'll get into all the particulars in a second. But you want to bring on
but before we talk football, I do have to say something. I tweeted about it yesterday. It got quite some attention. You guys may or may not know that Giannis Antetokounmpo is my dang favorite basketball player in the whole entire league. And unfortunately, he's not a Miami Heat. He's not going anywhere. We'll talk about that soon. But let's just get into it. Bobby from the Dive Bar is live. Welcome. What is going on in San Fran?
What's up? Can y'all hear me good?
You sound excellent.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, awesome. Yeah, we're hanging out, man. It's incredible. I'm not going to lie to y'all. This is a non-negotiable for me moving forward. This is absolutely incredible.
Fantastic, man. And thank you for joining us. I've actually been to a couple radio rows as a spectator when the Super Bowl's been down here, but you did it out big. You're on the West Coast, live from San Fran. Radio Row is a big deal, bro. And you're out there covering, obviously, for the Dive Bar and Tranquilo Sports. So awesome job by you, bro.
So what's the scene out there? I mean, we've seen your tweets this week, and you're interviewing like everybody and their mothers. Like you're not missing anybody. So Bobby, what's the scene going on right now where you're at?
Yeah, right now I got NFL Network right behind me, Bleacher Report over here, Pat McAfee sets right in front of me. Yeah, it's really just eat what you kill out here. It's basically a room with 3,000 people that you've looked up to your whole life, and you can just walk up to them and everybody that's here, obviously know it's media, right? So they're open and available, and some people you can't get them every time. They're going here, going there, obviously, but you can get a lot done if you really try.
Tell us some people you've interviewed, and tell me one player or a person that maybe you got starstruck with.
I'll tell you, my first interview wasn't a player actually. My first interview here, Adam Schefter.
Yeah.
I think I just seen him and was like, oh, it's Schefter. I'm gonna try to get a couple questions. And I got him. And I was like, after I left, I was like, boys, I'm not going to lie. I wasn't prepared. Like, I thought I was ready. And then you start talking to Adam Schefter, and, you've seen him so many times break news and on TV. And it's like, I was like, my heart was like jumping. I was like, holy shit, boys, we are here. But I got Schefter, Ian Rappaport. I did Rashad Shaheed for the Seahawks, Carlton Davis, the third, the cornerback for the Patriots. I got a question with Jackson Smith Enigma at the podium. I met Derrick Henry. I met Kenny Stills earlier. I met DeAndre Hopkins. Jameis Winston earlier. Jameis walking around. Jameis is awesome. He was talking to everybody and walking and letting people interview him as he was going around the different booths. Let's see.
Have you signed your autograph?
No, it's awesome. The thing that's cool about out here is I'm not special. You don't have to be special. That's the beautiful thing about this. It's open to everyone, and from the smallest to the biggest, you can get the same possible content as NFL Network. And that's what makes this place magical. It's really cool.
Fantastic. And so you're out there with NFL royalty. We saw your picture with King Henry. So tell me, what is the consensus from all the NFL bigwigs out there in terms of what the Dolphins have done with bringing on Sully and Half now? What has been the take? What's everybody's opinion out there on what the Dolphins have done here, bringing in those guys?
Yeah, everybody seems pretty high on it. I mean, everybody's high and respects John Eric Sullivan. They think he's an absolute mastermind in the personnel department, and that he's basically just been waiting to take over his own division. And he's got that now. And then with Halfley, a lot of people say he's not going to be a name that pops out or impresses, on headlines, but They think he's highly respected around the league. There's not anybody that says anything bad about him. And then also just to add this, you didn't ask, but everybody says Tua's gone. It's just a matter of time. Tua's absolutely out of here. No one has any other spin. There's not 1 ounce of other spin.
Yep. No, we agree with that. We've said that before, and so I'm glad that the world is hearing what we've been saying for weeks, years. Anyways, Bobby,
Wow.
I got two quick questions from you. You might have one. Bobby,
hey, y'all good? You good?
Favorite Super Bowl Sunday food, and I want to know your score prediction for Sunday.
Yeah, food got to go with wings.
Okay.
Maybe a good dip, chip and dip. It's got to be like maybe a 7-layer dip or something.
Perfect.
Score prediction?
Yeah. Who do you like? What do you like on Sunday?
Yeah, I like the Seahawks for sure. We were talking about that too when we were going around. We got to spend the first hour with the Patriots, then we spent the second hour with the Seahawks. And you could just, the vibe was different with the Seahawks. It was like they're destined to win the Super Bowl. It's just a different level. Those guys were hyped. The fans were way more hype around them. Chants were going on. None of that happened with the Patriots. And that doesn't mean anything technically, but to me, it was just like, it's destined. And I think the Seahawks are a better team in all facets. They're just humming right now. I think the Seahawks got it. And score, I say like 28-17. I think the Seahawks handle business.
I love it. Hey, listen, come on. We're Dolphins guys. There's no way we're going to pick the Patriots and gals.
No.
But, Bobby, last thing before we let you go here, and again, thank you for joining us here.
For sure.
What's the scene like out there in terms of like getting around? Because we've been out to the Bay Area. Obviously, it's very spread out. A lot of people complain that logistically it's hard to get all the way around. Is that what you've been experiencing, man?
Yes, you nailed that. It's odd. So Media Row is like heart of the city. Then we went to the opening night ceremonies. It's back in San Jose. And then we went to the EA Sports headquarters for a media party the other night. And it was like Santa Clara. So it was like, I might have got that backwards, but nonetheless, it's a giant triangle and everything's an hour apart. And you have to ride shuttles. And
oh, gosh.
I'll be honest, my ass hurts at this point. I've been sitting in too many seats.
I hear you, man. Well, listen, we've been thoroughly enjoying all your coverage,
keep
man.
Up the good work.
It's been amazing, everything you've been putting out, and let everybody out there know all the great content you got coming out, where they can find it, and please, by all means, let them know.
Yeah, so it's kind of a free-for-all. We're doing all kinds of stuff out here. Obviously, you can always find it on the dive bar, but also stay Tranquilo Sports, Hondo's Blockbusters. All right. Yeah, I'll never do that again. No, just kidding. Yeah, we're putting out everything. So we had some, like David got to interview the guy from the, what is it, Smashing Machine?
Oh, yeah, Mark Kerr.
The movie that The Rock just did, he got to interview Mark Kerr, the actual guy it's based off of, the first day we're here. So he's got that coming. It's cool. Like, he does a movie podcast, so it worked out for him. We let him do that by himself because it just made sense. And then, like, this morning, like, it's to show you how easy it is. Like, I'm not out here just stunting. We showed up this morning. I'm taking my bag off, and a guy walks up to me. Are y'all interested in Lee Steinberg? And I was like, yeah. And he's like in 10 minutes? And I was like,
yeah.
Yo, Gabe, set up the cameras. We got to do this, dude. And, like, dude, that's a super agent that was just hand-delivered as soon as we walked in the door.
My gosh.
Fantastic.
Bobby, you keep living your dream out there. We're all living vicariously through you. Stay safe out there. Keep up the good work and have fun. Live your best life.
Get that work, kid. We love it.
Heck yeah. I appreciate y'all. Keep killing it.
Take care.
Thanks, Bobby. Take care.
All right.
Okay, so Bobby's out there.
Awesome.
We were out there 2 years ago, but for other business.
Right, yeah. And, like I said, I've been a Radio Row. I know you've worked a couple Super Bowls, not attended, two different things. But, it's when you're there and definitely everything he's doing. And Radio Row is a monstrosity of a setup. And so that's great. So thank you, Bobby, for joining us. We'll definitely retweet all the stuff he's got going on.
Let's talk about the game now.
Yes, let's get
tonight
into it.
We have two amazing guests. And one thing about the Super Bowl that I love, obviously the matchups itself, then the food, but you're more of the foodie guy. Yeah. It's just these, I'm just saying how it is, the prop bets, right? And I mean, there's so much going on besides the game of football, which is what I love, but just so much to dig into. So today, our first guest, he's on Fox Sports Radio. He's also the host of the Morning After Pod, Jared Smith. What's going on?
I'm great. I appreciate you guys having me on. Really fun vibes, and yeah, it should be a really fun game.
No, we're super excited. And, we were talking before the show. You live in Vegas. We hope to get out there this year. The Dolphins play the Raiders. And then obviously when the A's, I was going to say the Oakland A's, but when the A's make their way out there, we'll definitely be out there. So what's the vibe in Vegas during Super Bowl week?
It's actually a really good week. So when the game was here, it was a very different week. I actually moved out to Vegas the year before that. So my first year in Vegas, the Super Bowl was in Glendale. And I was fortunate enough. I went to 3 straight Super Bowls. I was in attendance. The Rams Bengals game in LA. That was awesome. Halftime show was great. Dr. Dre, Eminem.
My favorite one. I got to tell you that hands down, fantastic. We're close to the same age. That one was the best.
I got to step in. I got to say it was Prince down here in Miami, but
okay, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, listen, I only have that one to go by, but that was the best halftime show I've ever attended. And then the next year in Glendale, I was fortunate enough to drive down there, from Vegas, and I got to experience it. And then the one here in Vegas, it was insane that week. But the actual vibes on the Strip during the game, it's fun. I mean, Vegas is great for any sporting event. I like March Madness better because there's just more happening. There's more games going on throughout the course of the week. Whereas the Super Bowl, it's like everyone kind of gears up for the game. And I actually don't like doing anything for the game itself. I actually had a tweet go viral this week about it. Like, I think Super Bowl parties are kind of overrated. I just want to sit and watch the game in silence, which is how I watch every other game throughout the course of the season. Like, I don't want some random person that I've never met before at some big Super Bowl party chatting me up while I'm trying to pay attention to the game.
Is he your best friend? I mean, it's just like
so I usually steer clear during the game itself. I'm back in my cave, but during the week, there's always a lot going on.
Yeah, and you mentioned March Madness. Lou and I are huge March Madness. Lou's actually, it's happy for him, huge Arizona Wildcat fan. We saw them play at UCF a few weeks ago. Obviously, my loyalty with St. John's. We went to Providence last year to chase them. Unfortunately, lost to Arkansas. I can't even look at them anymore, but we also love March Madness, and March is the best month because baseball starts. You're in the heart of college basketball, and NBA and NHL are kind of almost getting into playoff shaping, so You're us. You're a cool kid.
And I've been to a couple of Sweet 16s out in Vegas to watch them out there. And what they put, the show that they put on at all the casinos have watch parties, and there's nothing like hearing the roar of a sports book when that buzzer beater goes in. Whether you had the right score, you didn't. There's some kind of reaction, and it's nothing like it to be in that kind of a setting.
No doubt.
Yeah, and the Final Four is going to be here. I don't think if next year, it might be the year after. You might check me on the year, but within the next few years, the Final Four will be here. We'll get another Super Bowl. I'm hearing, I think it's 2031. Wow. And then of course you mentioned baseball, right? We'll get that first season, and it sucks for the A's because they're going to be kind of on the wrong side of it. But we see the same thing with the Raiders games. Like when the Raiders play the Steelers or the Packers here in Vegas, it's all out of town fans. So there's really not as much of a home field. The hockey games, though, that crowd is very much pro Vegas. Yeah, like that is I was here, thankfully. I moved here like a few months before they won the Stanley Cup. And I was there the night they clinched. I was in the arena. That was an unbelievable sporting bucket list moment for me. Where I'd been to a Super Bowl, I've been to World Series. I've never seen a Stanley Cup be awarded before. That was truly remarkable. But they love their nights. They don't really care about the Raiders too much. I doubt they'll care much about the A's, but they love their nights here in Vegas.
We agree with you with the Stanley Cup. We were at the Panthers.
We were at the game clinching.
Yeah, they beat the Panthers the one year that Vegas won it.
Right. But no doubt. Hey, the Stanley Cup is by far the hardest trophy to win in sports, no doubt. And but yeah, you mentioned the Knights are the talk of the town there, but the Raiders and the A's, two iconic franchises. Yeah. So it'll eventually get trending. I know a lot of California people will be making their way down to the desert to see their former team live. So yeah, lots of like there. All right, Jared, let's get into here. Super Bowl 60. This is the 60th edition of the Super Bowl. It's going to be played in Santa Clara this Sunday at 6:30. You got Seattle 14-3. They're the number one seed out of the NFC, 2-0 in the playoffs. They're making their fourth appearance in the Super Bowl, 1-2 previously. And then on the other side, we're Miami people, so we're not very thrilled to see the Patriots back in the dance. But hey, got to give them their credit, got to give them their due. They are the
Mike Rabel.
AFC representative, also 14-3 on the year. They were the second seed, and they had to play that extra game, so they're 3-0 in the playoffs. They are making their record 12th appearance in the Super Bowl. They have a 6-5 record. And this, of course, is a rematch of Super Bowl 49, where Pete Carroll,
in Arizona,
instead of handing the ball off to Marshawn Lynch at the goal line, decided to get cute and have Russell Wilson throw a ball that was unfortunately intercepted by Malcolm Butler. Unfortunately for us Dolphin fans and Patriot haters, but if you were a New England man, you love to see it. So we'll see how it goes. And right off the bat, Jared, what's your take on this matchup?
I mean, I think both teams. The Patriots' path has been significantly easier, and that'll be a big narrative. You'll hear that trend being talked a lot about in the pregame shows, like, oh, the Patriots' schedule was really easy. And while that is true, if you go back and look at the last 10 Super Bowl teams that have had easy schedules, like the Patriots, 7 of them won. So I think there's certainly a path, a case to be made that, it's hard to get here, even though you faced easier teams. You still got to win the games. And I don't know if New England's getting the full credit for winning those games. Even though there's circumstances, of course, that, made it easier for them, right? They're playing at home against the Chargers team with a bad O-line, and Justin Herbert can't do anything. And Texans, I don't know what was going on with their offense that day. Nico Collins was hurt with the concussion, and they couldn't find the broadside of a barn. And then, of course, the Broncos game, you get the backup quarterback, Jarrett Stidham. So, there's definitely parts of the path that you want to say is easier for New England. Seattle had the much tougher path. They have the better roster. They deserve to be the favorite. The one bugaboo for them is the Sam Darnold situation. And it's harder and harder for me to make this case that he's still seeing ghosts because his pressure numbers this year, right? Like, that's always been the knock on him, is that when he gets pressure in his face, he wilts and folds. Well, his adjusted accuracy rate this year is 69%. That's the highest of his career when facing pressure. So he's improved in that category. And we all know Seattle's defense is fantastic. I think this game is going to come down to how New England's defense holds up. That's the one unit I don't hear a whole lot of people talking about. And it's the one unit that might be the most undervalued unit on the field. If you recall, way back in September, Terrell Williams, the defensive coordinator for the Patriots, diagnosed with prostate cancer, which was unfortunate. He had to miss the entire season. He's back now. And I'm not saying he matters on the field, but I think he's kind of a spiritual catalyst. He's been back for the playoffs. Teams wearing T-Strong T-shirts. You got Vrabel with the pin on his chest, supporting prostate cancer research. And I think he's kind of given them a boost defensively. And what we've seen is New England a lot more aggressive defensively in the playoffs. They were a 20-25% blitz rate team in the regular season, up to 40-45% now in the postseason. And part of that's circumstantial, right? You're facing bad O-lines and, a backup quarterback. But a lot of it is, too, the confidence in their scheme and what they're trying to do. Their 2 defensive tackles have been the heart of the team this year, Barmore and Williams is a freaking beast. You go look at his numbers when he's healthy. That New England defense has been really good, especially against the run. So I think that's the path, right? If you want to say how could potentially New England pull off this upset, it's defense. And I think you kind of frustrate Darnold and turn him one-dimensional, and then you figure out a way to move the ball against this very good Seattle defense, which ain't going to be easy.
So I want to go in the chat real quick. We have Big Sis Lisa here. We have Adrian A-Train. What's up, beautiful people? Then we also have Rock and Noel, our friend Jeremy. I want to take a question from the chat room. Lisa, she says, Jarrett, which individuals do you feel that should go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Joey says it should be Drew Brees and Larry Fitzgerald. So I'm going to bring up that image. So we're going to switch gears real quick and talk about this. We're a big Richmond Webb. We obviously wanted Richmond Webb to go in. He did not make it as a finalist this year. But out of these people here, Lisa wants to know, who do you think is going to get in this year for the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Who do you think is going to get into Canton? Who do you like?
Fitzgerald definitely should get in. I mean, he's one of the best receivers of all time. I would put Drew Brees in too. Kuechly's interesting. I know he had his career kind of cut short voluntarily. And I think Eli's a Hall of Famer, and so is Vinatieri. But I just don't know. I don't know if this is Eli's. It's not his first time on the ballot. He's been out for a while. I think Eli eventually should definitely get in. Witten feels like he's a Hall of Famer too. I mean, he had some unbelievable numbers. I think he broke a bunch of records as a tight end. I'm not as keen on the Hall of Fame stuff. I think it's very political. You saw what happened with Bill Belichick this year and Robert Kraft. It's just, I think there's a contingent of 50 people that vote on this. And if there's that few amount of people who can decide something like this, it's easily manipulated. Right? Like if you need 40, I heard you need 40 votes to get in. So that means you only have to convince 11 people not to vote for someone to keep someone out. So I don't love the Baseball Hall of Fame has the same problem. Like, it's just very political.
Yes.
And so I never really take it at face value, but I would put Drew Brees and Larry Fitzgerald in for sure.
Yeah, and I agree. Look, it's a tough receiver class this year. Torrey Holt's also in there, and Reggie Wayne from the U. So some great receivers in that class.
But even Adam Vinatieri, we were
greatest
in need
kicker of all time, right?
He is. And, we had our issues with the Dolphins this year. And I was even tweeting at him, and I said, Vinatieri still has a little gas in the tank that he could definitely come down here. I mean, that man was fantastic.
Yeah, he's a kicker and a former Patriot.
All right, Lou, but he could get the job done.
but look, to your point, Jared, you're talking about political and all that. Look, two guys that for the Dolphins brass had a big say in getting the current GM and head coach, talking about Troy Aikman and Dan Marino. Those two guys were first ballot Hall of Famers. And I got to tell you, and I've said this on the show numerous times, if you're going to tell me that Aikman and Marino had the same career, I got to tell you, you don't know what you were watching. I mean,
Marino significantly better career.
No doubt. I mean,
but Aikman won the championships. He had the better team.
Yeah.
I see, like, the Hall of Fame stuff bothers me sometimes because it's the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of very great and the Hall of really good. Like, I think that's where we get into this, like, anger, pushback where someone doesn't get into the Hall of Fame and there's this, like, outrage, and it's like, well, are they in the Hall? Are they supposed to be in the Hall of Fame, or should they be in the Hall of very great? I think Aikman deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Maybe not first ballot. Marino is a first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer, period, end of story. Like, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah, no doubt. Jared, so before we get into our questions and in terms of the game and the angles of the games, how did you get started in the industry? How did you make this Lou
wants to know, how does he become like you when he gets to be a big boy?
He wants to be a gambler. Well, see the misconception, honestly, like, I have been gambling since I was in high school. I think the first sporting event I gambled on was a baseball game when I was 15 or 16 years old. Did it offshore back then. It wasn't regulated, and obviously I couldn't go to Vegas. I was under 21.
Yeah.
I played a lot of poker too growing up. I was in high school during the Chris Moneymaker days, and we played Texas Hold'em in my basement till 2 a.m. every week. So that's kind of how I got my start in gambling. I always knew I wanted to get into sports as a career. My mom was print media. She went to University of Florida. I have Florida roots. I grew up down there. And so she always inspired me to get into sports from the media perspective. And I played sports growing up. My dad was an athlete. He taught me football, baseball. Those are the sports I played growing up. I played a lot of golf growing up as well. So I always knew I wanted to get into sports. I just didn't know how I wanted to direct that passion. And then when I was in high school, I got involved with the high school newspaper, and that's how I got into journalism. That's awesome. Then Penn State, I did broadcast journalism. I was actually very, very passionate about doing public address announcing and play-by-play. And that was kind of how I got the start in my career, minor league baseball. Then I was down working in college athletics for a while. And then I kind of transitioned into local news. And that's where I started the TV and the broadcasting thing, and eventually made my way back to New York City, and was, doing okay in New York for a while. And then I kind of hit a wall and got into financial advising, kind of pivoted a little bit. This was right before the pandemic, right around the 2018 time. I became a financial advisor at Merrill Lynch. I did that for a few years, worked at AllianceBernstein too. And so that's how I kind of got into the money risk management side. But I hated working a corporate job. Absolutely hated it. So then I said, hey, I want to get back into broadcasting. And then that's when the gambling stuff was starting to become a big thing, 2019, when PASPA was repealed. And I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity at a network called Sports Grid. They were transitioning from fantasy sports to betting, and I knew one of the VPs, and he gave me an audition, and that was 6-7 years ago, and the rest is history, right?
Fantastic.
There's a lot of you too. I bet you when you were a kid in the 70s and the 80s, like betting and stuff, right? But you kind of kept it hush hush.
But as Jared says, it got really big in 2019.
Yeah. All right, Jared. So, are you like a big trends guy in the sense that, like, in terms of like certain stats, right? Like that has happened throughout the season, or do you put more emphasis like in postseason, what the teams have done recently? Like, are you focusing more on their regular season, or are you kind of looking at who they are, postseason?
I actually would ignore a lot of the stuff in the regular season.
Okay.
Because you have to think about it. So one of the things I do now is I actually got into coaching youth football, which has gotten me a new, passion. I've always played it, and now I can kind of channel that and, kind of teach kids how to play. But what that's done is it's given me a new perspective on handicapping the game. because now I'm looking at it through a coaching lens, and I'm looking at it through a situational and more of a matchup lens. And the more I listen to other sports media talk about gambling, the more they lean too heavily into trends. Trends can be very easily manipulated. For example, like, let's say someone's like, oh, 8 out of the last 10 times this has happened. Well, what about the last 100 times?
That's
like if you can manipulate numbers to kind of fit whatever box, whatever stat, whatever trend you're trying to articulate. So I prefer context. And I prefer like, I actually like to turn on the tape and watch what's happening and see if I can't, through my coaching lens, try to figure out how I would attack a certain defense. For example, like the Seahawks, like, we know they like to play a lot of 2-eye safeties. We know they play a lot of nickel and dime defense. That's been the style that they played all year. Well, instead of just, looking at how many yards they've allowed to certain players, I want to look at players that have had success against 2-high safeties. Like that. So that's how I like try to tune out some of like the trends and some of the really basic stuff. And I try to get really into the weeds with the matchups. I'm not saying trends aren't always like that. There are some good trends out there. I like market-based trends. I like trends that explain why the market moves in one direction or the other. And like, when something's priced in a certain way, it is predictive of this. Like, I try to look more at predictive trends and not things that are explanatory trends and things that are just like looking at the past, because that usually isn't a good way to predict the future.
He's a smart guy.
Penn
State education. How are you in line?
Love it. Love that answer. All right, Jared, let's move on to the quarterback matchup. And so obviously you got Drake May, second-year player, and then you got Sam Darnold on his 8th year, on his 5th team now in the NFL. So who do you give the edge to between these two?
Good question.
And what, if any, prop bets do you like regarding these two gentlemen right here, in Darnold and May?
It's a good question, because I think on the surface, everyone thinks Drake May is certainly has the more polished resume this season, where Darnold's turned it over a little bit more, and he has kind of that checkered past that might turn people away. But I think you have to give Sam a lot of credit. The one thing I love analyzing as an athlete is mentality. And when I look at Darnold, I see a lot of adversity that he's overcome. And that, to me, is something that builds character and that builds trust with your teammates. Like, Sam's career was over. He was a backup with the San Francisco 49ers. It's actually ironic. So it was week 18 of the 2023 season. So it was January of 2024. And Darnold was playing for the Niners. And it was a meaningless, right? The Niners had already clinched. The Rams had already clinched their spots. And it was a meaningless game between the Rams and the Niners in week 18 of 2023. Again, it was January of 24, so about 2 years ago. And Darnold lost to the Rams that day. Carson Wentz was starting for the Rams, ironically enough. And Darnold's walking off the field. And I bet a lot of people probably thought he'd never start another game again in his career. Yeah. And then he signs a year with Minnesota and turns his career around with Kevin O'Connell. And he bet on himself, signing a 1-year deal, which I love, and had a great year. Minnesota, I know he kind of flamed out in the playoffs, but Minnesota won 14 games and they had a fantastic season. And then he comes to Seattle and everyone was kind of laughing at John Schneider, right? You trade away DK Metcalf, you let Geno Smith walk, and look at the result. I really think there's a lot of value in that, overcoming adversity. So Darnold, to me, if he can get over the turnover bugaboo, I think he has the edge in this game, because I do think Seattle's got the better roster around him.
Perfect, Jared. And I got one more for you. Before we let you go, one more question. If you think that this is going to be a close game, do you think that Mike Vrabel actually has an advantage, since he's been in this position, played with the Patriots, and even more, watched one of the best to ever do it, Tom Brady? We don't like to use that word here on the Dolphin Show. But do you think that gives him an advantage to winning this Super Bowl 60?
Yes. And take nothing away from Mike Macdonald. I think he is an elite coach, but he is trying to do something that no coach has ever done. No coach has ever called the defensive signals and won a Super Bowl. No head coach, right? Even Belichick, the years that he won it, it was Brian Flores. It was Matt Patricia. You go back to the Tom Landry, Chuck Noll days, all those guys had defensive coordinators calling the signals. And Mike Macdonald's the guy who calls the signals for the Seahawks. So it's a lot. It's a lot on his plate. First Super Bowl, first time dealing with all this pomp and circumstance. Mike Vrabel's been there before. Very experienced coaching staff. Josh McDaniels, offensive coordinator, very experienced OC. He's been a head coach before. Clint Kubiak, OC, about to go be the Raiders' next head coach. So maybe focus not 100% over the last week. He has signed a new deal to go be the Raiders' head coach. So I'm not saying he's not locked in for this game, but you're dealing with a lot of new elements. And I think the Seahawks coaching staff is still learning how to deal with that. Whereas I think New England was very prepared. I think it's going to be a close game. Honestly, I do. I don't understand the Seattle blowout love. I think New England's defense is going to keep them in this game, and I think they're going to have a chance to win in the end. I definitely would bet New England to cover the spread at +4.5. Maybe you get even a 5 or 5.5 closer to game time.
Well, you guys heard it from Jared.
Yeah, the spread. We should mention the spread is 4.5. Did it open up at 4, or is it always?
3.5, 4, and then we saw some early Seattle money, and there really hasn't been much movement since. I think on game day you'll see it close 5. So if you're looking to bet something, I would look for Patriots +5. That would be the bet that I would make on game day.
Okay, Jared. So obviously, we're going to give you a chance here to tell everybody, where they can find you and where you're going to release all the content on game day and the stuff that you released today. But are there any plays out there that you're looking at that you want to share here? Maybe an appetizer to get you to come around to see what you got cooking for Sunday.
I got a lot. I'll tell you. My favorite play of the game is actually one I bet today. And I do a weekly podcast with some professional gamblers, and they always give me some good nuggets to chew on every Thursday throughout the regular season and the postseason. But a couple of pros that I convert with, they really like the total rushing yards in the game under 229.5. I think both defenses are actually really game here. And I think the Seattle defense, we obviously know they're fantastic. But this Patriots defense, I think, is very undervalued, especially on the defensive line at the interior spots. So I think that's just too high of a number. I think 229.5 is too high. The other bet that one of the pros gave me today that he really liked was the Patriots over 3.5 punts. Right. You can really impress your friends by throwing out the punting props at your Super Bowl party this year. But yeah, Seahawks, their defense is just, I just think New England's going to be on the conservative side early in the game. And I think they're going to play field position. I think they're going to let their defense work a little bit too. So I think over 3.5 punts is a really good bet for New England.
I love it. All right. Well, Jared, let everybody know where they can follow you. Awesome stuff going on your page. You got some, life wellness stuff with fasting, which I'm going to hit you up on. You said I could do it, so I'm going to hit you up on that. You got great stuff going on. How can people follow you and get all your content on?
Yeah, just follow me on X. That's the best place, at Jared Smith Bets. On Instagram too. I post a little more personal stuff on Instagram. You might see a few dog pictures pop up. But Jared Smith Bets on Twitter. And X, and I do the Saturday morning show for Fox Sports Radio, 6 to 9 a.m. Pacific, pretty early for me, but on the East Coast, 9 to noon. So usually that's a college football show, right? And we kind of get lead into the games heading over into the weekend, and now we're getting into March. We'll switch to college basketball, and then we'll reload for the summer. But that's the best place to find me. And in the morning after podcast, I usually tape that once a week. There's a newsletter, all that for free is on YouTube, and you can find all the links on there. But Jared Smith Bets on X is the best place to find.
Jared, I'd love to have you back in March so we can talk St. John's as they win the Natty this year. So
Arizona.
St. John's.
Good luck with that.
St. John's, Rick Pitino, the Godfather. Anyways, it was so much fun talking to you tonight. Have fun in Vegas, and then safe travels down here in Florida.
I appreciate it. Good luck, everyone.
Take care.
Have a good night.
St. John's and the Natty. Did you understand?
We will see.
Anyways, the next guest who we have on tonight, I was super excited to connect with him. And when I told you who it was and I told you his name, you were like, no, what's his name? And I'm like, his name is Steak. And you're like, no, babe, what is his name? And that's not what I want for dinner. And I was like, look, his name is Steak. Going, like, look. So,
and I got a great ring. I didn't even tell you this. I got a great ringing endorsement for him. Coming up here. So listen, let's bring him on.
Okay.
Joining us now, he's the co-host of the board review on BookItSports. He's can I get an intro?
Sorry.
As I was saying,
all right.
The co-host of the board review on BookItSports. He's also a Play Profit ex-partner. Steak, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Lou wants your name.
I do. I need a cool name like that.
So cool.
But no, Steak, I want to give you a great endorsement. I'm at work today. I'm at work. And one of my coworkers comes up to me and says, man, I'm scrolling through Twitter and I see that you're going to have Steak on the show. He's a follower of yours. He says, man, he's excellent at what he does. And he's on a heater right now with NBA underdogs. He specifically told me to tell you that. And so he's like, I can't believe it. Zach, if you're watching, definitely mention it today. And I was thrilled with that. So that is a great testimonial on your part.
Love that. It's about the best thing you could have told me.
Aww.
There you go.
So, Steak, tell us a little about yourself. Where you coming live from? Who are you? Give us a backstory. Who are you?
I'm coming live from Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
I'm a husband, father, and business owner in Orlando, Florida. I'd say I got into like the sports content, sports influencer space like 3 years ago. And I've been running with it since then. I've loved sports since I was 8 years old. I don't think I ever thought it was a reality for me to talk about it to a lot of people. I don't know why, but when I was younger, I never thought about that as a possibility. So watching it become a reality, even on a small scale, is honestly a dream come true.
And Steak, are you from the 407 originally, 386, or born and raised?
Born and raised Central Florida.
So I went to Embry-Riddle for a master's.
Yeah.
You know Embry-Riddle. My family lives in Palm Coast. My grandma's in Daytona. We go to Orlando once a month. We're huge Disney people. And eventually when Lou retires, we're going to be relocating up there. We love Central Florida. I mean, we live in Miami Beach, but Central Florida means a lot to us. So we're jealous of you. We're not jealous of the weather you had, though, because it was like 9 degrees last week there. My Nona told me.
It was in the 20s, which for people in Orlando, that's basically negative. The way people were behaving here, you would have thought it was negative degrees. It was very, very cold, and I put on the biggest jacket I had.
Oh my goodness! And so, being from Orlando, are we a Knights fan, Magic fan, Rays fan, Jacksonville? What do we like?
Well, I have weird sports allegiances, to be honest. I don't know if you could see behind me, but that's a Minnesota Vikings picture.
Yeah,
I picked Minnesota Vikings when I was 8 years old. I wish that somebody would have told me how heartbreaking it was going to be a Minnesota Vikings fan, but I'm a loyal guy. So now at 36, I've been a Vikings fan since I was 28. I am a season ticket holder to the Orlando Magic, so that's my local. And then I'm a Florida Gators fan. My oldest sister went there when I was a kid, so she took me up there, took me to some games, and I fell in love with the Gators back then.
36, you're a millennial like me. Welcome to the awesome. 89-90 club.
Russ in the room says Crimea River. Russ from Philadelphia, so he says that's not really too cold. But hey, it was snowing in Tampa. There were snow flurries in Tampa. I mean, that's not Florida weather.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Steak, we just heard today, I don't know if you heard, that the Rays, they announced their new stadium, that the Trop is going to be like this whole new stadium. Do you wish the Rays would have moved to Orlando? Or are you okay with them being at Tampa?
Well, I'm okay with them being in Tampa, but I don't love them being in St. Pete, to be completely honest with you. And I think the reason why their attendance is so bad is because they're in St. Pete, because Tampa is actually a very good sports city. The Lightning don't struggle with attendance. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers don't struggle with attendance. So the Rays struggling with attendance is weird when you consider the fact that it's a pretty good baseball team. You know, they don't spend big money like the Yankees or the Dodgers, but they're always competitive, find themselves in the playoffs more often than not. But I'll tell you, as somebody who really does love going to baseball games, it comes from Orlando. You could get to Tampa in like an hour and a half. With game traffic, it's about 2.5 hours to get over that bridge and get to the Trop, which unfortunately isn't a good stadium anyways. It's not. It's probably one of the worst stadiums in the MLB. So I'll take them. I'll take them in Tampa for sure. I prefer them in Orlando. I just don't want them in St. Pete.
Yeah, we're huge baseball people. I've been to 19 ballparks. You're up there as well.
21, I think.
We're actually going to the Rays opening day game this year, Monday, because Lou wants to see the revamp of Trop. I'm like, Lou, it's still going to be a crap hole. But we're going. We will be there.
Yeah.
But
we went last year to catch the Marlins and the Rays in Steinbrenner Field.
Oh, it's so hot.
Man, the dome is much necessary because Florida, summers are no joke, and you cannot. It's unbearable to be out there without the roof, so they need it. The Rays are also in a great division. You mentioned sometimes they're out. Outnumbered with the visiting team, but look, you got the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, and the Orioles in that division. Those are some blue blood teams and hardcore, passionate fan bases. So, always good to see the Rays doing well, and I'm glad they're getting their stadium. So,
yeah, we
sure.
All right, so let's get into the game here. We asked Jared, and we're going to ask you, Steak, what's your take on Super Bowl 60 coming up here? As we mentioned, the Seahawks are opened up as a 3.5, 4-point favorite. They're now at 4.5 heading into Sunday.
Maybe 5, they're saying now.
And also the total is 45.5. And so what do you see in this game with those numbers and anything that stands out to you ahead of kickoff at 6:30 on Sunday?
So I'm excited. I've seen mixed reviews about being excited for this game. I think some people like the dynasty aspect of seeing Tom Brady in it every year. And then right after Tom Brady, it felt like we were seeing Pat Mahomes in it every year. And then once you have a team like the Chiefs in it, then you can decide, well, I'm either rooting for the Chiefs or I'm rooting for the team that plays the Chiefs. So fast forward to this Super Bowl, you don't really have that. You obviously have the Patriots, who are probably the most successful football team of at least our lifetime. And then you have the Seahawks, who've also been here before, but completely different teams. There's no Russell Wilson. There's no Marshawn Lynch. There's no Tom Brady. It's completely different. And no one thought these two teams were going to get here this year at the beginning of the year. I think it's a really exciting matchup. I like a close game. I've heard a lot of people think it's going to be low scoring. I did hear the guest previous to me mention like he likes conservative. I'll be honest, I don't agree. I actually think it's going to be quite the opposite, high scoring. And I think these coaches are going to be more aggressive than we've seen them be throughout the season.
My brother's in the chat. He's a big Lightning fan. He lives in Virginia, so he gave you a little go Bolts, little love, go Bolts. We are definitely Panther fans here, but all right.
So you were mentioning though, Steak, that so you think it's going to be higher scoring? Is that what you did?
Yeah, I think it's going to be higher scoring. I really do. I think I like the over. I don't know if you see it at 45.5 or 46. Either way, I think this game gets into the 50s. I don't think it's going to be a punt fest. I don't think it's going to be a field goal fest. I think you're going to see both coaches think they get the edge by converting that 4th and 2 at the 35-yard line instead of taking the 3 points, especially when you consider by no means are these field goal kickers automatic. It's not like we got Adam Vinatieri on both sides. You got a guy who just missed a bunch of kicks, unfortunately, in that snowstorm in Denver. You got Jason Myers for the Seahawks, who's pretty shaky himself. So I'm looking for aggressive play calling from both coaches. And I'm not talking about like third or fourth quarter. I'm saying first or second drive, I'm expecting aggressive play calling. So that's what got me to high scoring.
And so you mentioned the play. Go ahead.
Because Adrian did mention here it's going to be a field goal game, and you kind of answered it, but I'm going to ask it again anyway. You see it. You said it's going to be high scoring, but do you believe that it could come down to the kickers? And you saw with Sean Payton, leaving the points on the board in the AFC Championship game, had a chance to go up 10-0, didn't do it. Do you feel that the coaches? I mean, you kind of answered it, but I want to ask it in a different way. Do you think they're going to play it close to the vest and not, let points go up on the board? You got guys like Jason Myers with the Seahawks, and then you got Andy Borregales from the University of Miami on the Patriots side. You mentioned he's been a little bit hit and miss here and there, but do you think they're going to be busy on Sunday in terms of that? That would go along with the high scoring too. Do you think both kickers will get numerous opportunities to put points on the board? And then do you think the coaches will pass them up and be aggressive to go for it on 4th down instead of kicking it for a field goal?
Ballsy.
I think they will pass them up, yes, but I still think they'll be involved. Like when you say come down to the kickers, I do think the game can come down to the kickers. Matter of fact, I actually think it will come down to the kickers. But no, I'm not expecting like each guy to kick 3 field goals. I'm really not. In this game, I like touchdowns more than field goals for sure.
All right. One question I want to kind of bring you back beginning of the season, NFL season. 2 teams. Who do you think was going to be playing at Levi Stadium this weekend? Did you see maybe the Patriots, or who'd you really see? Because I'll tell you.
No one saw the Patriots.
No. Well, us as delusional Dolphin fans, we're like, this is the year. This year we didn't, but we did. But I'm curious to know, Steak, who did you think months ago going into this 2025 season? Who'd you think would be playing at Levi Stadium this weekend? Who'd you like?
Very good question. I am not a psychic, so I did not think it would be the New England Patriots or the Seattle Seahawks. To be honest, I actually didn't believe in the Seahawks to begin the year, but then very quickly I watched that defense play football, and you could immediately tell how good of a team they are. Like 3 games into the year, you're like, okay, this team's serious. They're a problem. But going into the year, I didn't expect it. 2 years ago, they had a bad offensive line, and Sam Darnold had a rough end of the year for my Vikings, and I just didn't know that it was going to be a good fit. They lost DK Metcalf to the Steelers, so you're asking yourself, well, can JSN be a wide receiver 1? And he very clearly can. So I like the Lions. I thought they were going to get over the hump. I think what I didn't realize is how big of a deal the loss of Ben Johnson would be for them. And so that's where I went wrong on that pick. On the AFC, I think every year I tell myself it's going to be the year that either Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen gets over the hump. I'm starting to lose hope on that theory as well, thinking it might just never be their year. So I think I thought Bills or Ravens. And then on the other end, I think I thought Lions or Eagles.
As Dolphin fans, we always see the Bills Mafia take over. Even when we go to Disney a lot. Bills Mafia is alive in Disney and stuff, and every year they think it's going to happen. But yeah, it doesn't click for the Bills in the postseason, and they just come up short. But you mentioned Josh Allen and you mentioned Lamar Jackson. These guys are great football players. Their resume speaks for themselves. But for MVP, do you recommend rolling with the favorites on big plays, or do you recommend taking a shot with several long shots?
I'm glad you asked. I can't bet Sam Darnold, and I'll tell you why. I love the guy. Like I said, Vikings fan. I'm rooting for him. I have nothing negative to say about him except he's been doubted up until this point pretty much every game. The final game of the season against the Seahawks was for the 1 seed, and they said, well, remember last year when he played the Lions, he shit the bed, and he's going to do that again. Then he beats the Niners. They get a first-round bye. They play the Niners again, and everyone says, don't buy Sam Darnold in the playoffs. You can't do it. You can't trust Sam Darnold in the playoffs. He wins. Then he goes to play the Rams in the NFC Championship game, and everyone says, no way is he beating Matt Stafford and the Rams.
Yep.
There's just no way. He does that. Now he's a 4.5-point favorite in the Super Bowl, and suddenly everybody believes in him. And I don't know if this is the best way to think about a game, but for me, when I see people talking like that, it's like I've said, it's like Bitcoin at $100,000. It's when I sell. I'm going to sell Sam Darnold's stock at his highest right now, and I'm going to buy Drake May's stock at what I believe to be his lowest because he was an MVP candidate, is an MVP candidate, but has had a very bad playoff. He's got fumbling problems. He obviously, I don't think anyone could play in that blizzard. He wasn't great against the Texans. He wasn't spectacular against the Chargers. So I am buying Drake May and selling Sam Darnold to answer your question.
So with Drake May is the second youngest. I know we have a picture to bring up. He's the second youngest quarterback to start in the Super Bowl, next to the man who sleeps above me every night.
Steak, do you know who that is?
Steak knows.
Who?
Okay, so Drake May is the second youngest quarterback to be starting in a Super Bowl. It's coming, it's loading. Who was the youngest quarterback to be starting in a Super Bowl?
Now I got
a Steak. I believe in you.
Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Steak, I believe in you here.
From Florida.
No, he's not from Florida. He's not from Florida.
Did Dan Marino get to a Super Bowl?
It is.
It is.
No, I did not know Dan Marino got to a Super Bowl.
He won appearance.
Dolphins have won Super Bowls before. Steak,
I
come on.
I just didn't know Dan Marino got there.
Yeah, Marino did not win it, but yes, he is still Drake May. They're the same age, but Marino, by a matter of days, is technically the youngest quarterback to ever start a Super Bowl. At Super Bowl 19, you got to go back 41 years ago, but Marino was the youngest quarterback to start. All right, Steak, let's ask. I want to ask something else. What approach advice do you have to novice bettors out there, as opposed to the degenerates out there, many who are watching tonight? Guy who maybe is gal who's very casual and is going to watch the game, not really a fan of the game.
Let's put some money in it.
Let's put some money on it. What advice would you give the first time better as opposed to the hardcore degenerates?
I will be as honest as I can be. I love sports gambling. I think it's the most fun thing in the world, but it's only fun if you do it within your means.
Yeah.
Nothing is a lock. Ignore your friend that tells you that bet is a lock. Ignore that professional that tells you that bet is a lock. Ignore that capper. It does not matter. Don't put more than your means. Whatever you've decided your unit is or what you can afford to lose, do not put more than that on a game, or it will become unfun very quickly. And if you do that very simple thing, I understand there's addictive personalities and all that type of stuff, but if you do that very simple type of thing, I think sports gambling can be fun forever.
Absolutely. And I definitely want to echo that. We usually always start the show. We've done this last 3 years now. We always start it with, just a little advice. Do responsible, but responsibly. We're not responsible for anything that you hear on here, whatever you come across with on your own. It's your decision. But that was, you put it perfectly, and great advice.
Coming from the guy who's on the Hard Rock app, and I could tell by the look of his face if he lost money or not. Okay, Lou.
Well,
I got that look too.
Steak gets that look. Steak must be mad. He knows what the deal is.
I hear you, my man. All right, so anything you want to anything you like or looking at that you want to share, a little appetizer, if you will. Obviously, we want to give you the chance to give everybody where they can find you. And I know you got stuff coming out. You've got great stuff that you put up thus far. I know you have more stuff coming up leading up to game time. But anything you want to share or put out there that you strongly like or looking at?
Wagers?
Yeah.
Any props, anything you want to mention.
Are you a heads or tails type of guy? What do
Oh,
you like
I'm a
to eat on
tails never
Sunday?
fails. Tails never fails for the last 8 Super Bowls. I think I've bet it. I'm probably never going to give up on tails. I'll be honest with you. That's the number one bet I make every Super Bowl.
Okay, tails. That's me too. I would never go against. What's your favorite halftime Super Bowl show that you've ever seen?
Ooh, that's tough. That's tough. Who do I think did amazing? I'm trying to remember a few of them. I do think 50 Cent, when whatever won that one, was really good.
I'm with you. The guy before us, Jarrett, he was a little older than us. You and I are the same age.
way older.
Lose way older. Believe it or not, he is way older than us.
You don't have to age him like that.
But you and I, that Eminem 50 Cent show, that was my favorite. That was like our 90s, 2000s childhood. So I'm with you there. Lou, I would say you hated it. But Lou's a Prince guy. He loves like Prince. I'm like, who?
Prince is a Minnesota guy, so as a Vikings fan, I have to like Prince as well. Prince is pretty incredible, let's be honest.
Yeah, there you go. The Dolphins, by the way, are scheduled to play in Minnesota next year. We have our eyes on that game. We'd love to get out there. I was actually at the old, dating myself again, but I was at the old Metrodome. That was my first ever road game. Saw the Dolphins led by Jay Cutler. Chad Pennington was under center. And for the Minnesota Vikings, Brett Favre was the quarterback during that time at the old Metrodome. The Dolphins won. So you got to get back to Minnesota. That'd be fun to see. All right. So anything else, Steak, that you maybe like out there? Any prop bets? Anything you want to talk? Anything? The floor is yours.
Yeah, I'll run down my prop bets. I got quite a few of them, but I'll run down the ones I like the most. Drake May over 223.5 passing yards. I think I touched on why I like that. I think he's going to have a big game. Even if you buy the trailing game script saying that you think the Seahawks will be in the lead, I think that's still a reason to like Drake May. That's not actually the reason I like it. I like it because I think they're going to be aggressive early throwing the ball, which leads me to his safety blanket, Hunter Henry. I also like him over 40.5 receiving yards. There's a couple cheeky ones that I really like. Rashid Shaheed over a half of a rushing attempt. I have it in my head that this Patriots defense is going to make Kenneth Walker struggle, and that the Seahawks are going to need to get creative with the play call. And for me, that play call would be an end around or a jet sweep to Rashid Shaheed. So I like him to rip off a big play. I like Marcus Jones to record an interception. I actually bet him to win Super Bowl MVP 90-1. That's obviously probably not happening, but I think it's a really fun 90-1 long shot. He's probably the most explosive kick returner in the league besides Rashid Shaheed, and he's the team's second best cornerback. Christian Gonzalez, the team's best cornerback, will probably be stuck on JSN all game. I think that leads to big opportunities for Marcus Jones. I also bet him to have an interception plus 550. And I think that's a solid list. I'm trying to think of other players that I really like.
No, that's perfect. Thank you. Yeah, and if anybody wants more of that was fantastic.
I know you're like taking notes in your head. I saw you like.
I'm gonna replay this a couple times. Great. Those are great selections.
Say favorite food on Sunday. What do you eat on Sunday?
I'm going to give you the square answer. It's chicken wings for sure.
Oh, because if we were by you, I'll tell you, Lou would make us stop at White Castle. We'd be doing a friendly stop. We would do in Portillo. We have all our favorites up there. Because you love that one. And White Castle.
And if we were in Minnesota, we'd be going for that Juicy Lucy at Matt 5/8, I think it's called. Great place in Minnesota for the Juicy Lucy invention there.
And Stick, I'll tell you, we were in Atlanta this year for the Dolphins-Falcons game. And we run 305 Sports Travel. We do Dolphin away game packages. So we were in Atlanta and we stumbled across a Vikings bar. And let me tell you, we had first of all, the Vikings fans in Atlanta were top notch. But when the Vikings scored a touchdown, they made it snow from the ceiling. So if you were ever in Atlanta, you let me know. I will tell you the place. We had it was amazing. We were skull. Like I was in my Dolphin stuff and I'm yelling skull. So if you ever find yourself there, you definitely got to make it to their watch parties. It's such a great time. It was at the Vikings brewery.
Yeah.
It's a very nice fan base. Full of nice people. Yeah.
Dolphin fans are nice too. Just don't mention Tua. We get a little nasty with that.
I got plenty of friends that are Dolphins fans.
Yes. Well, Seg, listen, thank you so much for joining us. Let everybody out there know where they can find you. All the great stuff you got coming out. Like I said, even today at work, coworker gave a great endorsement on your behalf.
That's so crazy.
By all means, please let everybody out there know where they can find you and all the stuff you got coming up.
Yep, you can find me on X. So that's my username right down there at SteakFriend with 2 A's. You mentioned it when I came on the show, which I appreciate. I'm on the board review every weekday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on BookItSports, and I'm on the Pickett pregame every Thursday night. That's on the BookItSports YouTube. And that's about it.
Perfect. Well, we
Fantastic.
appreciate you coming on the show. And like I said, we're in Orlando all the time. So we'll see you at White Castle or Disney or one of those places. And we'll catch up with you.
I like that. Thanks for having me. See you next time.
Pleasure. Take care.
Take care.
We had so many fun guests tonight. Like this that
was awesome.
Everyone was great. First of all, we started with Bobby with the
show
Diver
before.
Podcast, who's live at Media Row out in San Francisco. And then we had Jared, who has been on Fox Sports, and then we just finished with Steak. Like it was such a great. There's so much more I want to talk about. I know we're at like that hour point, so let's just hit a few things. First of all, Super Bowl 60 is being played this week, this Sunday at Levi Stadium. We have the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. They have played each other. This is not a new matchup. They played each other and
Super Bowl 49
in Arizona. And the Patriots have won. So I just want to hit a few facts of some things that I want to compare this Super Bowl to Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl. First Super Bowl was played in 1967 against the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs. And for that game, I did some interesting facts. There was not a halftime show with like an entertainer. There was a school band. I believe. It was school band. So
University of Michigan.
University of Michigan
and Arizona.
In Arizona.
That's right.
So that was a big thing. Average ticket prices. You want to take a guess what it was?
A ticket back then?
Yeah.
The average ticket price, probably like $25.
Less. So the average ticket price for that first game was a modest $10 to $15. It was not sold out by any means whatsoever. So $10 to $15 would have got you into Super Bowl I. And then beyond that, it was actually played on 2 different stations as opposed to now it's like ESPN Plus and everything. So it was very, very different. And then the first Super Bowl was played at Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, the Coliseum.
Yeah, they played a couple there, including the perfect season. Super Bowl 7 was played at the Coliseum, Dolphins, Redskins. The Dolphins completed the undefeated season. The leader is, I believe, it's still tied. I don't know if you have that in the stat, but I think it's New Orleans and Miami are tied. Checking into the chat here, Russ says that the snow pictures that I said, yeah, you did. Crazy. I've seen something like that when we were in Pittsburgh Cup last month. But yeah, it was pretty nuts. And Russ also mentions the Olympics is starting up. So
there's so much going on this weekend. So if you are snowed in, first of all, you can see St. John's take on UConn tomorrow at the Garden. It's a huge matchup. Then the Olympics start tomorrow. Arizona, there's just a lot. And of course, the Super Bowl on Sunday. All right, so going back, the Seahawks and Patriots are the latest of 10 Super Bowl matchups. Obviously, Lou mentioned before that they played back in Super Bowl 49 in Arizona, where the Patriots won 27-24. But there have been 9 other matchups where it was a rematch. And it's still considered a very fresh matchup, meaning that there are no players on both teams that were on that season 11 years ago. So this is a brand new roster for both teams. No teams have seen this matchup go into. So you don't have like an OG.
New coaches, no Bill Belichick, no Pete Carroll in this one.
So this one's actually very interesting as well. I want to share with you guys. The Patriots are better at winning odd number Super Bowls than even number Super Bowls. So 60 is what? An even number. So it's just stats.
Well, it's not really an even number.
0, 2, 4, 6, 0 is definitely an even number. I can promise you that. But the Patriots are actually better at winning odd number Super Bowls than even ones. The Patriots can't love playing Super Bowl 60 given they lost 20, 42, 46, and 52. They are 2-4 when the Super Bowl is an even coming off an odd regular season. So yes, 60 is an even number, and they just play better in odd Super Bowl numbers. So just letting you know
let's give the room here.
And one more, California will be hosting. It's a 14th Super Bowl. 14th.
Wow. Yeah, all over from Southern California to Northern California. They definitely had their fair share of Super Bowls. All right, guys, let's get your predictions out there. We'll give ours. You got your predictions first, or you want me to go first?
I'll go first. Okay, so ironically enough, a few weeks ago when the playoff bracket was announced, we had we had the AFC and the NFC, and I gave my prediction, and I said that I think the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots would be playing at Levi Stadium.
You did?
Sure enough, here we are. And so, good job, Ash. I'm going to say that the Seattle Seahawks will win this. Tired of the Patriots. They had their dynasty. We all saw that many years. Give some love to Seattle. The Mariners didn't win this World Series, so give some love to our friends in Seattle. I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to win 24-17.
Okay, and Russ chimes in with Super Bowl 52. Of course, that's when the Eagles beat the Patriots 41-33 by 8 points. I believe that was in Minnesota as well. So that was in Minnesota. So yes, good bringing that up, Russ. Thank you. And yes, I'm with you, Adrian. We do not want to see the Patriots all off season, so we need the Seahawks to win, no doubt. I think the Seahawks will win as well.
Perfect.
However, I believe it's going to be a close game.
Okay.
I think, look, Mike Vrabel has been in this role before as a player. He brings the experience. He's got this in 1 year. He's turned this thing around full force. I love Drake May. I think Drake May is going to be an up and coming. He already is. Heck, in a couple hours, he might be announced as the NFL MVP.
Yeah.
They're doing the NFL honors tonight. As we mentioned at the beginning of the show, they're going to give all the awards out this evening, including the NFL MVP. And they will also announce the Hall of Fame class for 2026. So, again, Drake may very well be an MVP announced here in a couple hours. So I love what New England's done. It bothers me,
I know.
but I got to be honest. It's very, very commendable, respectable, and you cannot not be impressed by it. I don't care about who they played. I don't care about their fourth place schedule. They played who's in front of them, and they went on the road in the playoffs at Denver, in bad conditions, and they were able to pull that off in a tough environment. The Patriots are a good team, a really good team, and they deserve to be here. I think it's going to be a very close game. I do have the Seahawks edging them out. I'm going to pick them by 4. The line's 4.5. I think the Patriots are going to make everybody sweat, and I think it's going to be a close game. I am going to say it's going to be 31-27 Seattle winning it in Santa Clara on Sunday.
Okay, so Russ says 27-17 Seahawks. It's coming from our Eagles friend. Adrian, what's your score prediction? So he thinks, like you said before, it's going to be a field goal game, and defenses are so good. Mike Rivera, Mike, we've been thinking about you and praying for you. We're hoping all is well out there. Mike's saying Seattle 34, Pats 27. So Mike's also saying that closer game by field goal or so. But also Seattle. He thinks Seattle's going to win as well.
All right, guys. Well, listen, we hope you enjoy the Super Bowl, whether you're watching with family, with your significant other, with friends, at a party, at a bar.
We do the same thing every year. We set up a little shop here.
Yeah, enjoy the game.
Oh, okay.
Whatever you're drinking, whatever you're eating, enjoy it. Hopefully, again, the good guys win. In this case, the good guys is the Seattle Seahawks because we don't want the Patriots to win. But so enjoy it, and we will see you next week. If you're watching on X or Twitter, come on over to YouTube. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Get you out of this on a couple of things. The Miami Heat. Obviously, I think you want to put that.
I wanted to bring up, as I mentioned, Adrian just gave us a score prediction, 27-24 Seattle. My brother says 21-17 Seattle. So we're pretty much all Seattle.
Yeah. If you're watching this later, definitely we want to know what your predictions. So put your predictions in the comments section. If you're watching this on the replay. But yeah, look, let's talk about the Miami Heat.
So
really
trade deadline has passed. It was today at 3 p.m. Last night, we were at the Heat game. It was last night, the night before last. 2 nights ago. Huge. We want Giannis chant broke out. I was one of the loudest ones. And obviously on the talks was either maybe Heat were going to get Giannis Antetokounmpo or John Morant. None of that happened. And
not only did they not get either of those guys, they did not make any trade. They are the only team. Listen to this stat. They're the only team in the Eastern Conference that did not make a trade at the trade deadline. They literally stood pat. Pat Riley did not make any moves, and he's running it back with this group. I don't have much hope to see this team take it to the next level and to the next gear.
Yeah.
But look, maybe Giannis is in play in the summer, and that's the only we could hope for right now.
That's what they're going to do. They're going to see if people can repackage him for the summer. That's exactly what's going to happen. So I saw an image today that it was a gut punch, right? As a Heat fan, the Miami Heat cycle, right? So we're here. We miss out on the star players, but then we'll be a play-in team, and we'll get a little off-season hype. We'll say, okay, maybe we'll come in as an 8th seed, and then the rumors, and it's a cycle.
Well, you know what? I disagree with this.
I think it's
maybe
perfect.
Lately, but you're talking about, and we saw a couple of these guys.
2006.
We saw a couple of these guys 2 nights ago where, Pat Riley did bring in Shaquille O'Neal. He did bring in LeBron James.
But this is
and he
recent.
did bring in LeBron James and Chris Bosh. He brought in Jimmy Butler. He's reinvented the team numerous amount of times. Udonis wasn't one. He drafted Udonis. But he brought in all these players time and time again. So I have faith in Pat Riley. He tried. He got right there to the 3:00 hour. They announced it before, but he was in the mix to make a move, and unfortunately it didn't happen. So we will see where it leads, but we'll check that out. And the Panthers, they got a big game right now. They're going on against the Tampa Bay Lightning. It'll be their last game before the break. Russ mentioned earlier in the room that the Olympics are coming up, so the Panthers will go on break for 3 weeks here coming up, but they are in a world of trouble. They are 9 points out of the last playoff spot. So we'll see.
Yes, they play, I assume, with Lightning tonight. Lightning are hot, so hopefully we can turn on the heat as well. Okay, guys. Well, and also today, World Baseball Classic rosters were released about an hour ago. World Baseball will be starting first week of March, so really interesting to see how those teams stack up. Obviously, DR, Puerto Rico, Venezuela always come with hot teams, but don't sleep on teams like Canada. Canada also has some great players, and of course, Team USA. So, guys, baseball season pitchers and catchers are reporting. It is February, so stay tuned for baseball.
All right.
All right, guys, have a great evening. Have a great weekend. Enjoy Super Bowl, and we'll catch up with you soon.
See you guys.